Don't you remember anything at all? What? Or are you just pretending you don't know? You. I don't quite understand what you're trying to say. But, even as she said that, clear memories were flashing through her mind. Things she saw in her dreams. And Juyeon's mysterious words, the meaning of which she did not understand then, just as she did not understand now what Vidar said. For some reason, Presepe involuntarily raised her hand and pressed the side of her left chest, although the pain was not there this time. Disgusting. Vidar's vision changed in an instant. His eyes no longer had the painful sadness that they had a moment ago, but were now filled with resentment and bitterness. You made it so that I can't even blame you. Then here you are, like this again? If Presepe had realized that she herself had created Vidar's existence, and even this whole world, he would have shouted at her. He would have said to her, "Why did you make me go through all this torment? Why did you make me be so lonely? Did it have to be this way?" But Presepe remembered nothing. She forgot everything, and now she was trying to abandon him again. So it seemed disgusting to him, blameworthy. What did you want to do? When I came to you, what did you want to do with me? You must have been hoping for something. Vidar was silent for a long time. It brought back to his mind the thousands of years he had spent alone. What did he want to do? What was he so desperate for? What made him wait for Presepe like this? I don't know. But now, he no longer remembers clearly. But if you choose me, and if you love me. There was still a remnant of futile hope, a hope he could never give up. I thought you would understand me. Completely different from other humans. Say it. What did you want me to understand? I'm not sure. Vidar muttered palely, as if talking to himself. Maybe I wanted to make up for all those boring years. Maybe I just wanted to finally be able to rest in peace. I'm tired of this life. All I did was look at his still bleeding wounds. She lowered her head toward her torn dress, which revealed her skin in several places. Then she tore off the cleanest part of it, and bandaged Vidar's wound with it to try to stop the bleeding, and said quietly, "Maybe the real Presepe was able to meet your expectations." What do you mean? But I am not the one who lives in your illusions. I am not something with which you can compensate for your painful time. Now I realize that your life has been full of loneliness and isolation. But, just as you have your feelings, I also have mine. I don't want to hear. Whatever you say, I won't be able to understand it. I'm not like you, I can't know and explain all my feelings. I needed you. Vidar bit his lip hard, then muttered again slowly, I wanted you to call me by my name. To hug me. To say sorry, and to understand my whole heart. If I threatened you now that I would kill you, would you do all that for me? Yes. You can kill me easily, you are the strongest being in this world. I have seen you before, more than once, killing people in front of my eyes. But Presepe shook her head. You should rest now. Then she added in an urging tone, your wounds are deep. If I leave him like this, he will die? And if Vidar, as the true hero of the story, dies, will the system collapse unlike what happened with the other characters? It was a lie to claim that such a thought had never crossed her mind. However, at this moment, Vidar in front of her looked extremely exhausted. It is as if his body had once received the weight of thousands of years. Permission. But Vidar asked her again, does this mean you're rejecting me? Are you going to abandon me again? A strange gleam shone in his blue eyes as he stared at Presepe. He grabbed her wrist more forcefully, making her look up at him in confusion. Vidar? She seemed shocked by his sudden reaction, but he held his fist coldly, as if he didn't care. Even when Presepe groaned in pain, he didn't stop. Maybe I should kill you. If I kill you now, I will feel relieved. It was strange. Suddenly it seemed to him as if his desire to win Presepe's heart had completely evaporated. His pale hand slowly rose from her wrist, up her arm, then up her shoulder, until it reached her neck. His blue eyes were empty, wandering, as if he had been mesmerized by something. And at that exact moment, warning, building trust and firm belief is the most important element in the game. The instructions window appeared in front of them, like a warning. Vidar also saw her, because he had already turned into a glitch, and stole the book of memories and opened it as he wished. Game, system. Vidar finally caught up. Whether in Vanessa's village or now, that murderous desire that seized him for no reason was not his own feelings, but merely a value programmed into the system. I'm different from you, Vidar. Fenric's face suddenly passed before his eyes, mocking him. You only move according to the specified values. That's why, from the beginning, everything was different between us. At least I chose Presepe of my own free will and got close to her. As for you? The one who did not understand the topic is you, Vidar. In the end, you are nothing more than a puppet that moves according to the values programmed for you. Do you have the right to say something like this to me? No. No, I didn't mean to do that. Ack. When the pressure on her neck eased a little, Presepe pushed away his clinging hand, letting out a short moan. Why? Why am I still, unlike Fenric? Still in control of the game? Vidar's face showed confusion. Only one thing came to his mind. Memory book. The book that summarized all the systems of the game Presepe Cage. So, what should I have done? If I've come this far and I still can't act like Fenric, what's left for me to do? If I had killed others like Fenric did, would anything have changed even a little? What if Presepe knew that, despite knowing everything, I did nothing? That I merely observed what was going on, leaving Fenric to lead the events? Then, what will happen? Thoughts that had never occurred to him before swept through Vidar's mind like a tsunami. It is true that Presepe had been terrified when he had strangled her, but her confusion now was not because of that alone. But because Vidar had an expression on his face that she had never seen before. Completely absent-minded face. I'm going to rest for a bit, Vidar said, turning his back to Pris. Anyway, you won't be able to leave this forest. All the monsters are watching you. So you'd better not have silly ideas. When Vidar's gaze moved away from her, Presepe raised her hand to feel her neck. If this happens even though he regains consciousness, what is the guarantee that he will not kill me again? There was only one way to protect herself, to stay near Vidar and keep up with him, until the day of choice came. But at that moment she felt an overwhelming desire to escape. The face of Fenric who had rushed to her, shouting her name, was still clearly before her eyes, and his voice was still ringing in her ears. I caught a glimpse of his face for a brief moment, but it wasn't enough. The nostalgia was building more and more. Or perhaps her long-repressed feelings were now beginning to burst forth like a torrent. Is this all? This is the summary of what the knights have gathered about the Forbidden Forest so far? Yes, this is correct. Siegfried answered as he stared at the documents Fenric was holding, his features still pale. Fenric had summoned Siegfried privately because he believed that having as much information as possible about the Forbidden Forest would be a great advantage. It is true that he himself was not completely inexperienced in entering it, but in his hands now could come together maps and information that the knights had collected over decades. You will stay here to protect the Emperor. Yes? But like this, the only thing you'll do inside the forest is be bait for the monsters to buy us some time. You realize this, don't you? He wasn't wrong. Just arriving at this place from the capital was an enormous effort, not to mention that he was still seriously injured. Fenric looked around to make sure no one was listening, then leaned down slightly and whispered in Siegfried's ear, "You are meant to watch him. You must understand." Siegfried did not answer. But he knew the truth of Fenric's words. If Dietrich, possessed by madness, had acted alone in this place, he would have brought greater danger to everyone. You seem to have understood well. Fenrik raised his head again after he finished speaking, and Siegfried continued to look at him for a while before he spoke cautiously. Duke Fenrik, will you really be able to take out Lady Presepe? Are you sure that you'll be okay? Sometimes, whether I'm okay or not, the answer is already decided. Fenrik answered coldly. And to me, Ms. Yes. It has been like this for a long time. So even if I have to risk my life, I have no choice but to go. Fenrik clearly remembered Vidar's trembling eyes as Fenrik plunged her sword into his collarbone. If my hunch is correct, then it would be possible, without hindrance. While Fenrik was resolving this, something he did not expect happened. Duke. Kevin suddenly entered the tent. I found something strange. Strange? Kevin handed him a small book. Written in large print on its cover was the title, Memory Book. Fenrik's eyes narrowed slightly as he studied him. It may not be valuable, but I found it near where Mrs. It looks like a book, but it has no title, and the inside is completely empty. Untitled? Is it possible that Kevin doesn't see the address? And I also found this next to him. Kevin took a small object out of his pocket and handed it to him. I was going to kill him since he's a little monster, but look at his claws. Hair. Yes. Isn't it exactly the same color as Mrs. Fenrik looked at the little creature in the palm of his hand with a questioning face, while Rick chirped with a face full of worry and longing.